Temurah Daf, continuing with the sugya from yesterday, if a person has to bring a carbon zachar, carbon pesach, carbon asham, oila, and instead he sets aside, he designates an akeva, female, instead of a zachar. So the animal becomes kedushas damim, and immediately turns over to kedushas aguf. And what does that mean for us? Two things. First of all, in order to redeem it, you have to wait until it befalls a mum. And second of all, since it's kaddish, kedushas aguf, you could perform temurah on it. So if you have another animal that's chulin, you could say my animal that's chulin should be instead of my animal that I designated as a carbon, and both of them have kedusha. What kind of karbanos are we talking about? It's machlokes. According to Reb Shimon, this doesn't apply to carbon pesach and carbon asham, because Reb Shimon holds that right now today you have to be able to make this animal a carbon, and since you can't bring a carbon pesach as a female and neither asham, so they don't have kedushas aguf. But oila does have kedushas aguf because it's in the parsha of nekeva. Since if a person says R Eli oila, and it doesn't specify what kind of animal, we say you could bring even a bird. And a bird, there's no distinction between a male and a female, so you see females are in the parsha of oila, and therefore this oila has kedushas aguf. But Rebbe says no. All three of these karbanos, Asham, Pesach, and Oila, are Kaddish Kedushas Aguf. Why? Because they're all in the parsha. Oila we said in the parsha of Nekeva. Carbon Pesach, the leftover carbon Pesach is a Shlamim, and Shlamim is by Nekeva. And an Asham, leftover Asham, is an Oila, and Oila we said is in the parsha. However, by Asham, Rebbe says you can't do Temurah. Why? Because what do you do with this money? You buy an Oila. What kind of Oila? An Oila for the tzibur, for the community. And there's no Temurah by the community. There's only Temurah by the individual. There's three cases the Gemara brings. If a Kohen Gadol who has to bring a par, Kohen Gadol has to bring a bull, and instead he designates a female cow. Says the Gemara, there's no Kedushas Aguf. You're going to say, but wait a minute. Female cows are in the parsha. Paraduma, the famous Paraduma. Yes, it's in the parsha of Bedek HaBayis, which is a much lesser Kedusha. It's not Kaddish Kedushas Haguf, Kedushas HaMizbeach, like this par Kohen Gadol. If an individual who has to bring a female goat sets aside, he designates a male goat, or a nasi who has to bring a male goat designates a female goat, they're both not Kaddish Kedushas Aguf because they're two individuals. They're not in each other's parsha. What about an interesting case? An individual who has to bring a female goat. He sinned, he has to bring a female goat. And before he's able to bring the goat, he turned into a nasi. And now a nasi brings the male goat. Still, he's not in the parsha because when he sinned, he wasn't a nasi. And he had to bring a female goat. If a person decides to donate all his belongings to Bedek HaBayis, and including in his belongings, he has some animals. So Rebbe Lezer says, you sell the male animals for an oila, and you take the money and give it to Bedek HaBayis. You sell the female animals for shlamim, you take the money and give it to Bedek HaBayis. Rebbe Shua says no. The male animals have to be nekrav as an oila. Right now, you shech them as an oila. The females, you sell them off for tzarchei shlamim, and the money goes to Bedek HaBayis. Says the Mishnah, if you have a Temurah Asham, or the offspring, you let it graze, and then with the money that you sell it, the proceeds, you buy an oila. The same halacha is, if you have an Asham, sheniskaper b'aleh, the owner had a kapara through another animal, or the owner died, you let it graze, it falls a mum, you sell it, and you buy an oila. The chiddush is that we're not concerned that you might buy a new oila before you have a kapara, and therefore you should let it die. Kumash Malan, you don't let it die. According to the Yerushalmi, we're not concerned that you might take a kapara through the Temurah, and therefore you should let it die. Kumash Malan, you don't let it die. There's a rule that any time there's an isser done with the animal, you can't have a kapara with that animal. So over here, I would also think that since you took the proceeds and you bought a carbon oil before you had a kapara, there's a chet there, kumash malana. According to Rebbe Lezer, we are geyser. We make a gzeira, and therefore the animals must die. Reb Nachman says that the whole machlokes is only before there was a kapara. But after the kapara, everybody admits that you're makriv the animal as an oila. Just the problem is that we learned the other day that even according to the Manda Omer that says that the offspring can be brought as a carbon, that Manda Omer will say that the second generation offspring, the grandchild of the original, you can't bring as a carbon. Over here, the offspring of the Temurah should be considered the second generation offspring, and you shouldn't be able to bring it as a carbon. There's a machlokes in the Mishnah. After we went through the whole process, we let it graze and it had a mum, and you sold it. What do you do with the proceeds? According to Chachamim, it becomes a oilas nidvas tzibur. becomes a oila for the community. According to Rabbi Eliezer, it's for the individual. A oila for the individual. The difference is that if it's for the individual has to perform smicha, buy nesachim, and if he's a kohen, he's allowed to work the animal, keep the proceeds for himself, the hide is for himself. If there's the Temurah Asham that was in a keva, and she gave birth to a zachar, there's a machlokes amaroyim in Rebbe Eliezer. Does he hold that she grazes, or does he hold that you're allowed to be makriv it? And to say that what the Mishnah said, that it could graze for many generations, and to say that it's talking about in a specific case where it was a female that gave birth to a female, etc., that the Gemara says is too much of a doichak, and only a Bavli would say a pshat like that. Have a wonderful day.